Hello my dear friends, I hope you all are doing good. This is Padmavati and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. Have you checked yourself? Are you feeling happy today? Right? I did ask you about this thing I think a couple of days ago as well, and this is very important. Whenever you start, many of you, I know that your day starts with this lecture. So before moving ahead, do ask yourself that are you 100% ready for this thing? If you are not, even if you are at 99%, then trust me, the water is not going to change into gas, right? So that process of evaporation will not take place if there is 1 degree missing there. Moving ahead, dear friends, please allow me to introduce all of you to our pen drive and tablet courses for different examinations. StudyIQ provides you with different pen drive and tablet courses. To know more about it, just check out StudyIQ.com. If you have any question or queries, you have chat support available on our portal, as well as you have some numbers here. You can always feel free to give us a call just in case if you have any question or queries. The first editorial that we have here is pertaining to Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now, as you can see on your screen, world map, and some countries are colored in a sort of golden color, isn't it? I will quickly read the names of this country. I'll start with this North America. The first one is Canada, then you have United States of America, Mexico, Peru, Chile, then coming over to this side of Pacific, again starting from north, you have Japan, then you have Vietnam, Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, and last one is New Zealand. These are the countries, 12 countries that were part of Trans-Pacific. I'm saying were because United States of America is not, now it has stepped out of this Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is also known as TPP. So keep this thing in mind. Now it all started in February 2016, and this is a very important, or you can say it used to be a very important group because 40%, roughly 40% of world's economic output is between these 12 countries. So you can see here you have many, see Japan is there, then you have USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, right, Singapore, Malaysia. These are some of the very big countries here, right? Not in terms of just the size, but in terms of economy as well, particularly this Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan. Now the thing is, dear friends, the main aim, of course, for this Trans-Pacific Partnership was a reduction in tariffs. Now, if you don't know what tariffs are all about, it is basically import duty. Yesterday we were talking about this soya bean and reduction in this those other items as well, sunflower oil and pulses and things like that. Pulses were covered a couple of days ago. So you know the thing, that why the government levies some sort of import duties on different items. We have talked about it. So this is the thing, right? So when you slash this tariff price, so easily this 12 countries will be able to sell its products with each other, and in this way they will make some money out of it. This was one of the main aim of this Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now as soon as Donald Trump came in, or as soon as he became president, within first week he had cancelled this TPP. He has declared, he did declare at that point of time that USA is going to step out of this TPP. Now, because USA was going out, Japanese Prime Minister said that it is this 12-member group is going to become a sort of meaningless group, because USA used to contribute something around 60% of the combined gross domestic product of this 12-member country. So you can imagine that USA stepping out of this thing is going to be a sort of a big problem for these countries. But now they have decided, the 11 countries, barring this or excluding this United States of America, the other countries that I have taken you through, these countries have decided to go ahead with a new comprehensive and progressive agreement on Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is known as CPTPP, right? CPTPP. So this is the new thing that they have revised these things, and This particular document, or this CPTPP, is out now, and they are going to ratify it, hopefully, and everything will be completed by 2019. Again, we have to wait and watch whether this thing will work or not. But the thing is, when this 11 countries have decided to go ahead with this TPP, sort of new revised TPP, this itself indicates that it is not necessary that USA will decide everything in the world. And this then we know Iran deal as well. European countries have clearly stated this E3, right? They have said that USA, if USA is going to step out of it, this is not going to break this deal, because Iran is following all the rules and regulation under this Iran nuclear deal. Then with Paris Agreement as well, USA has decided that it is going to step out of this Paris Agreement. Of course, it will take another 4 years for the USA to completely exit Paris Agreement, but other countries have in fact, United Nations chief negotiator in this climate change has in fact said that the stepping out of USA has given us more energy. It has worked like a glue for us, that we are going to stick together and we are going to work towards a better world, or a less carbon emitting world. So USA, again, it used to be, there was a time, we know it very well, that it used to be like a, you can say, world police thing, and it was a country that was its orders were followed by many countries around the world. Even some of the stronger and major economies used to do what US used to ask them to do. But now that thing is going on, and on the other hand, the vacuum that is created by USA is being exploited by, or the opportunity that is being created by the USA has been very well taken by China. Now China is trying its level best, and it's promoting this RCEP, that is a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. And to remember how many countries are there, it is very easy. We have talked about this ASEAN, so ASEAN plus 6, right? That's your RCEP. So keep this thing in mind, and of course India should grab this opportunity. We are not part of BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, of course, because of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. But this one, RCEP, is a thing that we should utilize we should take it as an opportunity, and this will help us get access to many other countries. We would be able to sell many products and things like that, particularly services, in which we are doing quite well. So we would be able to sell our services to other countries of this RCEP. So that's everything in this editorial. Moving on to another item, and I have the other editorial that you have today is a bit of political in nature, not that important, but this article is I believe very important. It is pertaining to World Toilet Day. Now yesterday we talked about this issue, right? World Toilet Day. It's not an issue, in fact it is a sort of awareness campaign, isn't it? So we have talked about this thing, and I told you how and when it started and things like that. So of course it is not covered in this one, but I believe that yesterday's discussion will help you a lot in understanding what is been written here in this article today. Now the thing is, we know it that this is part of Sustainable Development Goal, and just creating toilets is not enough. Yesterday we talked about 4 steps, isn't it, that it has to go through 4 steps. Your fecal material has to go through the 4 steps, and it should not come into human contact, and we should do recycling and water recycling. We can use the fecal material, the decomposed one, for fertilizer and production of energy and things like that. So there are many things that can be done out of it. Now the problem is that in India, even today, right, we have not managed to connect parts of our urban households with a main sort of gutter system, right? Even today you see that in many cities, right, this is a big issue, particularly in cities like where you have slums, in many societies as well, right? In a very fine societies you find this sort of issue. Now the main reason is that we have been following this sewage treatment plant model, right? A preferred system that you find in Western countries. But in our country, this thing is not something you can say that is sustainable, because if we use, rather than accumulating all this sewage of the whole city at one place, right, for us it is better. So imagine this is your big sewage treatment plant, and then everything is coming from different place, right, different parts of your city. You have to create this infrastructure, and you have to ensure that everything is smooth, no blockages and things like that. And then again, your sewage treatment plant should be of that capacity, and to build this it will take ages and things like that. So what is a better alternative? The better alternative is this on-site system. That means you might have, yesterday there was a picture that was been provided on this platform. I provided you a twin pit toilet picture. Remember that? Now that twin pit toilet is a thing that you can say that on-site system, right? It creates after a couple of months, or after a few, you can say 6 months or 7 months, this vehicle material will get decomposed, and then you can have use trucks and other vehicles that are fit with these gadgets that can empty your septic tank, and then it will take away this leftover material, and then it can be processed into factories and industry. It can work as a raw material, right? Rather than getting everything at one place, it is better to divide this thing. And if we do this way, if we follow this method, then we can create wealth out of waste. The other thing is, the big problem at present that we are facing is that in our country we have all these rules and regulation, and this applies to many other things as well. You know that on books we have all the designs and all the plans and strategy and everything, but when it comes to implementation, we are very bad in implementing things, and this applies even today as well. And when you see this septic tank structure and things like that, now government has issued all these standards and how to create it, and what should be the size, and what material should be used, etc., etc. But then as well, these things are not being followed, and because of this thing, there is a direct threat, right, of groundwater getting contaminated because of this things that will leak from it, and then it will reach to groundwater, and this is in fact a big problem even today, and it is going to create more problems if we don't sort this thing out as soon as possible. Now what can be done? Of course, as I told you, breaking down, right, rather than sorting the waste at one place, it is better to create small clusters or within the building as well. So imagine a big skyscraper, right? It should have all this facility of recycling and things like that. Without that, they should not be given permission at all to do this thing. So these are the thing, and this will happen only when the people, right, the people of our country will ask for a change, because we see many municipalities around our country. When this Bombay thing came up, when Bombay was going through this flood, at that point of time, this reports came out that it is one of the wealthiest, you can say, municipal board in our country. It is having huge amount of money parked as a fixed deposit, but you see that they are not spending the money. They are earning interest out of it, and this is of no use at all. Rather than parking that money in the bank, it is better to use it. But this thing will take place only when people will push for it. When we will ignore, or when we will, you can say, when we truly are fed up of this gutter flowing, open gutters and gutters that are getting blocked and things like that, only then we will see any sort of change. Now moving on to another item, and this is about politics. This is an editorial that is written on in this IT department, income tax department. Now the thing is, we have seen that this sort of raids are being conducted by our IT department, IT officials in different parts of Tamil Nadu, and this is seen as a sort of politically motivated, you may say, action, right? We know it very well that many of our organizations, departments like CBI was termed as a caged parrot by Supreme Court a couple of years ago. And we know it very well even today as well. Many income tax officials, you do find their name in all this corruption and things like that. And we also know that there is a sort of influence of the ruling party of center over IT officials or IT department. So that's how it works in our country. But anyways, the raids were conducted on at the residence of Jayalalitha, and of course the main target here was V.K. Sasikala, because the room of Jayalalitha was not searched and things like that. And this sort of things, right? Whenever you find even the raids are conducted, but you don't see final result coming out, and same thing applies to this case as well. You see here, Chief Secretary P. Rama Mohan Rao. Remember, just after Jayalalitha, his office were raided, and many things were found, but still it's been a year, but still we haven't reached a sort of conclusion. And same thing applies in other cases as well. So this is the thing, if this is the way our IT department is working, then it will lose credibility. And the dream of the government, you can say, or the main target of the government, to increase both indirect and direct tax, right? We want to be able to achieve it, because if this is the behavior that has been conducted by IT officials or the departments that are collecting revenue, then people will lose the confidence, and people will think that rather than paying taxes on time, it is better to evade taxes, because at the end of the day it is the political parties that are going to gain. So this sort of image can be created, I'm saying, right? It is not, of course, this last few sentences are not written in this editorial, but you can easily imagine that it won't be something that will win credibility for IT department. This one is about GST cuts haven't mattered, right? This is a sort of single file in the second page of this Hindu. When I say second page, I'm talking about this op-ed page, the comment section. Now we know that the National Anti-Profiteering Authority has been created by the government, and we discussed about this thing, the whole, I gave you an example as well, what this anti-profiteering thing is all about. You know that the government has reduced GST rates on nearly 200 items, and of course when the taxes are reduced, then naturally the total price of that product will come down as well, because there are many things on which you will pay tax. Say for example, if you are creating a packet of biscuits, right, then you will import, or you will require sugar, then you will require electricity, right? So there are many things, as you can see, input cost, and everything will have some sort of tax on it. So when the final product will be reduced, then other things you will see a change in that thing as well. So it is expected by the government that this should be the MRP should be reduced. If we are not reducing it, then we are going to this NAPP is, or you say NAA is going to come after you. Now there are, in social media we have seen that there are many people who are shouting against McDonald's and Starbucks, and they are saying that they have not reduced the prices, even though the government has reduced this GST from 18% to 5%. So still they have kept their price. Now the thing is, see, we know that when any business is able to sell more product, and if their cost price is low, and if there is a sort of difference between their final product price and their selling price, then whatever that is left in between is their profit. Many times there are many occasions on which a business makes loss as well. So we should let the business decide whether they want to reduce the price or prices of their products or not, because it may sound a bit strange here, but in real terms what happens is that whenever government is reducing tax on anything, then it is expected that finally this businessman or this businesses will reduce the price, or the prices will naturally come down, because at the end of the day it is the consumers or the customers, right, who are the reason behind the demand of any particular product. Now it all depends on demand and supply. Many items you see that even the rise of if there is a price rise in that particular item, then as well its supply will not come down because of various reasons. It could be in fashion, it is something that everyone is looking after or looking for, etc., etc. So there are various reasons behind it, and at the end of the day, it is the market that should decide whether the price should come down or not. But this is what generally is expected from the business, that the money that they save in this way, right, or the extra money that they make, right, as a profit, that money will be reinvested, you can say, right. They will open more stores, and in this way they will create more job opportunities and things like that. And at the end of the day, the government is going to make the same, or the revenue of government may increase as well. So when this article is talking about that when we are pushing businesses to reduce its prices because of fall in GST rate, is going to be not good for, or counterproductive. It is going to produce some sort of counterproductive results. This one is about journalism and algorithmic accountability. Now, you might have heard about this thing. I'm sure every one of us is using some sort of social media. In fact, YouTube is a sort of social media as well. Of course, the way you use it is a bit different, but traditionally we know it's Facebook and WhatsApp and other platforms, which we call or know it as SNS, right? Social networking sites. Now, the thing is, this article is talking about shadow banning. Now, this is a very interesting thing, shadow banning. What happened actually with the Hindu newspaper is that their tweets were not visible, right? That if you search the Hindu's Twitter handle, then if you go in the search bar of this Twitter, then you were not able to find this the Hindu's tweets. So they complained this thing to Twitter, and Twitter said that because of some reason their tweets were, or their account was considered as a spam. Now this is something very dangerous going on at present over social media, and this is called shadow banning. What shadow banning is all about: say for example, you have a company called company A, then you have company B here. So B will practice, say for example, shadow banning on its rival. So all its social networking tweets, or you can say Facebook post and things like that, will not be if you search for company A, then you won't be able to see its releases, right, or whatever tweets or whatever things they have uploaded or released in their social media site or handle. So this is how they are taking advantage of this technology, and this is not good in terms of democracy, because what happens is that say for example, some sort of issue is going on around in our country, and if one particular group, one is against any sort of change, right, and the other one is for the change, so there is a sort of war going on between these two groups. So imagine that this one are yes sayer and this one are no sayer, and this yes sayer will use this shadow banning, and all these no sayers views on social media will not be, you won't be able to come across it. So this can directly influence, isn't it, this thing, or the opinion of the people. So this is a very dangerous thing, and this companies are saying that we are going to sort it out and things like that, but we know it very well that they make huge amount of money out of this shadow banning game, and because huge amount of money is involved in it, we don't see that this will be removed. This thing will go on, of course, in future somewhere, I don't know when, but there will be again a sort of call for democracy of social media. At that point of time, we may see some changes. Now you have two articles here. This one is a pure article on Gujarat's politics and things like that, so you can ignore it. If you have some extra time, then go for it, or else I would recommend it's fine if you skip this one. This one is about Sri Lanka. Now there is a problem going on in Sri Lanka, right? You can see Prime Minister and President of Sri Lanka on the picture here, and on your screen, in fact. And the thing is, they both are having different views when it comes to constitution. One is saying that this should be the change. The other one is saying no, this is what is required. And now, of course, both of them are talking about, the President and Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. They are talking about a sort of constitutional change, right, or some sort of change in constitution. So opposition, and there is religious groups as well. I think it is Sinhalese group, right? That is the group that is against any sort of change in the constitution of Sri Lanka. But when this president and prime minister are for change, then the opposition at present is losing its ground. Now the thing is, for the longest period of time, there has been a couple of tries as well earlier as well to sort out or to have a more up-to-date constitution in Sri Lanka, but still they are not able to reach here. Now that's apart from this thing, it is talking about the politics of Sri Lanka and other things. Nothing to do with India, right? It is not that important. So that's basically a gist of this article too. Moving on to news item today. Sadly, if you can say that we don't have that many news item. I have gone through the paper twice to find out things that are important for you, but still items are not that many, but I have tried my level best to get the best for you. And I have one news from a pink paper as well for you. Anyway, so this one is about Jammu and Kashmir. Yesterday as well we have talked about this thing about a counter-insurgency strategy. You know, you have to use two ways. In fact, it is one way, but you have to take two different steps, and you can term it, I have talked about this thing, it is called carrots and sticks. So the place where you have to use force or stick, you do that. The place where you need talk and diplomacy and discussion, you do that thing. So now Jammu and Kashmir police has appealed to local militants to give up this path of violence, and it has assured that if they cooperate, right, if they give up this violence and guns, then the government will be there for them. Government will try its level best to rehabilitate them and relaunch them in the society. Padmavati is going to miss December 1. We know that a protest is going on around the country against this film. We have talked about this particular topic in twice. We have talked about there was one editorial on this thing, and there was one article on this thing as well. So I'm sure you know many things about Padmavati now. Now again, this Central Board of Film Certification, it has to decide if there are any necessary changes or not. We have to think or we should take it from different, or we should try to watch this this particular issue from different angles. We have to see whether it is going to impact our democracy or what, why there is a call for this sort of protest, who is right. We have to take a judgment call on this thing. I'm not saying that this community is right or the picture or the filmmakers are wrong or etc. But this sort of things we have seen many a times. It do takes place, whether it is book, whether it is film. So you may find a question in terms of essay on this topic. So just keep a sort of familiarize yourself with this one. Here you can see again something similar, that this International Film Festival of India 2017. In this one, 6 members of Indian Panorama jury have expressed their concern to Information and Broadcasting Ministry regarding the exclusion of Ravi Jadhav's film Nude and Sanal Kumar's Sasidharan's S. Durga, right, from the festival. So this is the thing. You see, it is there are a few people who will decide what should be included and what should be excluded, which is not good in terms of expression and arts. Moving on, a very you can say shocking incident, and I think this is the first time this thing has took place in this city of Durban, that is in South Africa. Now a family of Indian Consul General, right, his family was been sort of, you can say, some burglars or robbers entered his house. He was not present at that point of time. His missus and his kids and other people working domestic helps, they were there in the house, and these burglars used this gun and things like they threatened the missus of Dr. Vikram with a gun. But luckily no one is harmed. There is no sort of injury or things like that. So this is a good news, but it is a matter of concern for us that as a country we should ensure that our diplomats, the people who are working for our country, this IFS people, they should be given adequate protection. Of course, the government of India has assured, and our able minister has had a word with this Dr. Vikram too. Moving on, diversity keeps us united has been said by our President Kovindji, and see this sort of statements you do here coming from President, and this we have talked about it when this President Pranab Mukherjee was there. You see this sort of things in Press Information Bureau as well. And whenever you find these sort of statements, if there is something new, if you can find some good examples that you can use to express your point, then you can pick up some bits and pieces. Here he was in Arunachal Pradesh, and over there he has talked about it. He has talked about the tribes that coexist in our northeastern states, and then as well there is no sort of issue going on between different tribes. So this is a very beautiful diversity of our country, so you can use this sort of examples. Moving on, dispose of old cases in mission mode. This has been said by Ravi Shankar Prasad. He is law minister of our country, and of course it is very important that the cases are sorted out on time. We know that in our country it takes ages to sort out this judicial cases, but the thing is, just speaking good about this thing is not going to help, because there is a sort of issue or confrontation going on between government and judiciary for a very long period of time, and this is the thing that is creating lots of hurdles. When it comes to appointment, we know that there are many judges, there is a huge amount of vacancy, or there is a vacuum of judges in our system, which is delaying the thing. The other thing is, when we see the infrastructure, even today as well, we don't have up to date or latest infrastructure of judiciary, and there are many other things that we have to sort it out. Of course digital technology will help, but still both these pillars, that is government and judiciary, should work as a team rather than rivals. There is a picture in the Hindu today, and this is of Poli Swargam, right? Poli Swargam. It is celebrated in this part of our country, Vijayawada. So keep this thing in mind. This is a festival in which the devotees release lamps in Krishna river, right? Andhra Pradesh. Keep this thing in mind. People are against this Mugabe. The people of this Zimbabwe, they are not happy with Mugabe, and the other people, the vice president as well as the army and other people are asking him to step down. So he is going to step down, as he has said, right? Because he is under pressure. China has offered to mediate dialogue between Bangladesh and Myanmar, and it is based on this Rohingya issue. Now the thing is, India is not going to be happy about China's you can say interference in this Bay of Bengal region, right? So we should try our level best to ensure that we are able to keep China out of the politics of this part, which is it is our neighborhood first of all, and the other thing is that if China is able to sort this thing out, then it is going to win all the points, even though if we have tried our level best, and we are in fact supplying many necessary items, and we are supporting Bangladesh to tackle this Rohingya issue. As this one is from Pink Paper, and a very important one. Now a parliamentary panel of Switzerland has approved an automatic information exchange pact between India, or you can say with Switzerland's this automatic information exchange pact with India, and this is going to be a big help for us, because we know Swiss bank is famous for this it is famous for this secret money. So you can park as much as money you have, you can park it over there, and your name will be kept secret. But now it is going to change, which is going to be good for Operation Black Money. I have some questions for you. The answers of yesterday will be provided to you. I have gone through your comments, right, of course, and I will mark some model answers, and in this way you would be able to learn from each other as well. So I'll do that thing. And what is let's go through the question of the day. First one is, what is the base year for Paris Climate Change Agreement? You have four options: 2005, 2020, 2022 or 2015. These are the four options. You have to tell me what is the base year. Name the state that has 40% of minerals of our country. Right, there is a state that has 40% of minerals. And the third one is World Diabetes Day was started by United Nations. True or false? Justify. With this thing, dear friends, I end today's discussion. I will see you all soon, but don't forget to subscribe, share, like, pass your valuable comments and your answers. When you will pass your answers, I will, by the end of today, I will mark model answers. And of course, you can download this slide from our Telegram channel or StudyIQ.com. I'll see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Goodbye for now.